Welcome to the Inner Space Covent Garden talk. Our talk today is one that I think many of us would find very interesting. Mystery, magic, meaning. All around us, numerous phenomena confound or escape our comprehension. Even our mere existence remains a profound mystery. What is the meaning of life? Why are we here? Do all of life's mysteries need to be unravelled? Has life for you lost the magic and wonder? Are you skeptical of it all? Would you like to imbue your life with great enhanced enchantment? So we've asked our speaker to share his insights into a science viewpoint to exploring mystery, magic, and the meaning of our life. Dr. Prashant Kakoday has a background in surgery and integrated health. Specifically, he's been interested in the relationship between our psyche and our emotions. And he's spoken on this subject through many countries and institutions, including the World Health Organization. So Dr. Kakoday, Prashant, is going to be sharing for the next 40 minutes. And after that, he's going to take us through a guided meditation, very short, just 3 minutes. And then following that, he'll be taking your questions. The idea of the meditation is for what you've heard to settle into your awareness, into your heart, so it becomes something that you can integrate in your life instantly or from tomorrow. So please send in your questions via the question and answer link or via the chat, and it will be my pleasure to put those questions to Prashant on your behalf. Prashant, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Arti, and it is so beautifully presented, the subject of mystery and the magic. If we read a book on neurophysiology, one word that is heard many times, almost in every chapter, that word is mystery. And so our brain, after all this, years of intense effort, we are finding that there is mystery, and it is because we ourselves, our existence is amazing mystery, and there is a hidden side to it. And we will see some slides, and we will bring have discussion backed by this, some visual images. We are going to see this subject from the angle of science. And there are institutes all over the world. Here just I'm giving some websites. They might connect you to other websites, and these are scientific institutions who do serious research into areas that ordinary people may not be interested in. Like mainline science is not interested to know about miracle, for example, whereas these people will go there to study this. They will have the program to understand this subject better from the science methodology. Kind of things they might study and publish includes some of these areas that you can see: out of body experiences,
Prashant, sorry, people are finding it difficult to hear you. Could you speak up? Could the microphone be closer to you?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
So let me see if the microphone is anything. Is this any better, Aarti?
Yes, it is. That is better. Thank you.
Yeah, excellent. So, we saw that here, we are seeing some of the areas that they have published their work, and we mentioned about out of body experiences. Now, if you have met a person who had this out of body experience, very fascinating, and they say 6% of the population had out of body experiences on this planet. So sometimes in a gathering, if there are 100 people, and if I ask them, anyone here had out of body experiences, roughly 6% uh, of the audience, they raise hands. There are always hands raised, and that sort of gives an idea what they say is fairly reliable, that number. But what is fascinating is they are seeing themselves separate from the body, and they know their existence is invisible, and they are able to see the body from beyond, and they know they sometimes they may have a little fear, will I be able to get back in the body? But they come back, and there are some people who have this experience many times, so they know, they are very light about it. They tap out and they can come back. The another study connected with this near death experiences. They saw here the person was declared dead. This is what happens lots of times, and they have the conscious self is separate, and looking at the body, looking at everything that is going on. But these are the people who can travel beyond that scene of the hospital. And sometimes they have been in the corridor, they have been in the other places, and come and tell you what they have seen. And that information is verifiable, and almost matches with the reality that was happening at that time. Like one person was able to see what was on the roof of the hospital, where the hospital, they don't have the stairs to go to the roof, and he was able to tell, and which was verified subsequently. And now this is not just a experience of these people that gives an insight to us that here right now what we are listening and experiencing wherever we are, there is an invisible side, invisible conscious self. That is the one who is making sense of all the experience that is happening right now. We are projecting on the body. We think that it is all happening through the body, and body is experiencing it all. But in these cases, they are able to see that they are able to see themselves separate. The presence is separate. And that is certainly a big mystery, but this mystery applies to us. And it has its own practical side. If we keep reflecting on this and play with it, that whatever experiences are happening, that is not happening, it is not the body that is experiencing it, that is a independent presence that is experiencing it. We are just projecting it on the body, just to have this as a theory behind. and just play with it. And you might find it leads to other experiences. Apparition, we see here, it is, these are cases where we are able to see a person who has already died, but his presence is seen. People see his appearance, people see him walking, moving. Usually it is emotionless and lifeless kind of appearance. The person walking, he's not noticing you, not looking at you, not talking, just walking, sitting, but emotionless, lifeless appearance. Sometimes, if there is a group of people, 5 people there in the room, all 5 see it. Sometimes just one person sees, not everyone sees. And in studies, they try to uh, catch, if they can get any, the photographs, they can pick up any of these things. What they have found, at least in one study, Polaroid cameras and Polaroid photography, that can pick up, and they don't see what the other person had seen, but they see a column of light in the place where they saw the person. They see a column of light. So that is something. But they also try to study with some electromagnetic field and infrared detectors, these kind of things, and they didn't detect anything in that area. But sometimes you might see, if you take a photograph, someone showed me a photograph of similar kind, and there was a column of light in that photograph. And she's asking me, what is this column of light? And in my theory, and there was something going on there at that particular time, and she did not notice. Telepathy, communication between humans and humans to animals through thoughts. And you all may have some experience of this. The recent observations. You may be in one country and your friend another country. He sends you a text message, and even before you receive the text message, you are thinking of him. This can be very random. As was said, we can be thinking of anyone, anytime, and it may be random. But it is seen people who are asleep, and the other person is another country. The person who is asleep wakes up, and middle of the night. It is not usual for him to wake up at that particular time. He wakes up, and if subsequently it is checked, the other person sent a text exactly at the same time. And the this chances of this happening are statistically very high, and that it is not just a chance that he's waking up, but statistically very significant. And this is telepathy. There are different ways to explain it, but enough to know that communication does happen. I'll tell you one example in Cambridge, where I am here. One patient lady, she was sharing her experience. And what happened, her husband, he was in Saudi Arabia. And this was during the time of the Iraq war. And he was working for the embassy, foreign office. So when he was traveling, no one knew that he's traveling. It was kept secret for security reasons. Even his wife did not know. But when he arrived Heathrow, their dog was at the door. And when he arrived Cambridge, and dog is jumping around. So 10 minutes before he arrived the house, dog was already waiting for him. And only after he arrives, wife was able to realize this behavior, what was it, all the behavior about. And so retrospectively, she could understand. But she herself did not know, but dog knew. Yes, let us put it in the department of telepathy. Reincarnation. We will see this in some detail if we get time. But the big name in this area is Ian Stevenson, a psychiatrist who was based in Virginia University. Fascinating studies, observations. So much so that their university has created a special unit within the university called Division for Perceptual Studies, and within that they have got more than 24,000 cases where children remember another life, and they are studying it thoroughly. They want good cases, but we'll see it in more detail. Poltergeist, so these are the cases where in the presence of a person, then the things disappear and reappear. So it is like a mind influencing matter. Sometimes it is not consciously, that's why it is poltergeist. He's not consciously doing this, but his mind has influence on the matter. Again, one example, person I know, he said he parked a car late, he arriving home, took out some boxes from his car, left them on the ground, took out other boxes from the car, and the earlier boxes have disappeared. So he just thought for a while, what happened to these other boxes? Anyway, so he went, took these other remaining boxes, opened the house, and opened the door, and he finds that the boxes are already inside the house. Other boxes have already arrived there in a house that was locked. And this is not the only example, but he comes across similar examples many times. He just thinks of it and then gets on with his life. Did not know why it is happening. But without he knowing even, I can sort of see the connection. He is the poltergeist. Means in other words, it is his mind that is doing things, and he doesn't realize that is what is happening. In some cases, who are like that, whose mind has that influence on matter, they may be with friends, he just looks at the car key, and car key bends, and then he couldn't start the car key. Maybe he couldn't start the car. He couldn't use that key anymore. He literally need to use help to fix this. This has also happened, which means their mind has influence, but not in their control. When that mind has control, then we call it magic. But enough to show us that there is an influence. Mind has influence on matter. And it is not just few people, it may be all of us. The reason we got a body that we have got, or whatever situation, our mind is influencing it. It is, we are party to this. The physical world that is in front of us, we are party to this. And Arti, want to add anything? Say anything? Is the sound okay so far?
Everything's wonderful. Thank you.
Excellent. So here, next, precognition is seeing the future. Someone is able to know the future under experimental conditions. People tell you, what you are going to do at 6 p.m. And then and in these experiments, the person doesn't know what he's going to do. He's given 20 cards, and he picks up a card, and he goes to that. He drives to that place. He reaches there. There are another 20 cards given. He picks up a card. It is like a proper experiment. And at 6 p.m., he's exactly at that place where the clairvoyant had mentioned. So this kind of studies. Let us see the next slide. What we are going to see. Multiple personalities syndrome. In some uh, medical institutions use this term. What really is happening? One person, and there are two personalities within him. In the morning, there is one person. In the evening, it is another person. It is a bit like that. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. This is not very common, but there are cases. These personalities, they don't remember each other's life. So in the morning, there is one personality. In the evening, another personality. Body is the same. And that other personality, they don't remember what happened in the morning. Bit like that. Like one example, this lady, she parks her car, and then next day she goes to find her car, and that car is not there. And she tells that she roughly knows where the other person within her parks the car. And she has to roughly guess and find the car. But she knows she did not park the car there, but she has to guess. And she says other person could have sold the car, and there is no way of she knowing this. So these are like the two individuals living in one body. That is what is happening in these cases. But coming to the medical side, what is seen is that as the personality changes, the body appears. The appearance is different to some limited level. You can know this different personality here. But the body scars appear and disappear with change of personalities. In some cases, the color of eye changes, change of personalities. The illnesses changes with the change of personality. In one case, one boy, he is allergic to orange. But when the personality changes, at that time he's not allergic. And that things, same body, everything is the same. Molecules, antibodies, everything is there. But he's not allergic to the same substance. When the personality changes again, then he's allergic to the orange. And he doesn't know when the personality will change. That is the thing. Suddenly the personality changes, and then he's in a different mind. As was said, this is very rare. It is not that someone just has got a change of mood, we say multiple personality. No, ordinarily it is, we all go through different modes, but these are rare cases. As was shown here, as if two personalities and there is one body dealing with it. But it all shows to us that the mind, what is happening at the mind level, personality level, see how much influence it has on our health and on our body. As was said, even color of eye changes with the change of personality. So right now we are getting whatever the body we have, there is influence from the mind. And definitely worth finding out what can we do at that level of the mind, so that there is positive influence at all levels. This is the person we're talking about, Ian Stevenson, and we said he is from Virginia University, and at the age of 30, he has been in that university. In 1960s, one mother brought a child to him, and this child was talking about another life of another man, and mother did not know what to do with this. So this young psychiatrist, tried to get as much information from this child. And based on the information, he was able to locate the family where that other individual lived and died. And he studied that family, that case, that post-mortem examination of that deceased, and he found that more than 40 facts that this child was speaking about matched with the reality of that man. He published this case in the journal, at that time in America. He got lots of interest. They got grants to study this more. And more he published, more grants he got. He was able to study these cases in all 5 continents. But and he publishes when you are having thousands of cases of this kind studied by proper parapsychologist and a serious selection of cases, good cases, you see a very interesting pattern, and you understand this area altogether, how the continuation of our consciousness. Now, based on this, there are books he has published based on his observation. They are like a serious science books. It is not easy reading, but his websites you will get more interesting to read, and some of his videos and YouTube you might be able to see. But some books he has written, they are based on reincarnation and birth defects. So he is seeing that injury in one life can be seen into the next life. Some sign of it continues, especially if the injury is at that time of death, that you will see its sign in the next body in the even child. He gives all kinds of examples, hundreds of cases. His book is Birth Defects and in the Reincarnation. Certainly worth getting this just to see the photographs of some of these cases. But here is one case where the person died, and before his death, his fingers got caught. He met with an accident in this fodder chopping machine, and all 5 fingers were lost. He is born in a baby child, and this baby is without these 5 fingers. But in this case, he remembered the earlier life. That's why it came into Ian Stevenson's world. This may be something like this may be happening in many places, but they don't remember the past. In this case, he remembers how he lost his fingers in the earlier life, and he tells about it, and evidence is that he is born without those fingers. The photograph that we see is in this present life. In the earlier life, no one took photograph. Here is a man from Thailand, had an injury to the head, serious harm to the body, died. But in the next life, in the present life, he's born with that scar. And another case of similar kind. Let me show how we can explain this, and what is the relevance to us. So here we are seeing the person who died, and the new body he has come in. The common factor is the conscious, invisible conscious self, and that is shown in the image of the star. What we are also seeing, with that comes all our many functions go at that level. We were saying right at the beginning that there's a presence, invisible presence, who is experiencing right now. Based on experience are the memories. So whoever is experiencing, he remembers. And based on experience are the impressions and emotions. They all are happening at that level. That conscious, invisible self. That is what is experiencing, getting the impressions. And so here we are seeing that that self now has moved. The body has died. Body maybe is cremated even, but this self is there, and we are seeing that in this case, it is with this new body now, and what we are seeing that it affects the new body. Sorry, here. So what we are seeing here is it is in the new body. It influences the new body. It creates a scar. It makes the person lose fingers. So here is an example. Let us say here is a small accident, and in this accident, it appears to be a small accident. I don't know how it reached there. Now, let us say he lost the fingers. Now, what we are seeing here, he lost the fingers, but the impression is created at the invisible conscious self that he has lost a finger. And that impression goes with him, and that impression creates the reality into the womb, in the new body. We are seeing all along the power mind has on the body. That's what we are seeing here in different example, different cases. There's other case where the injury to the head and the impression goes with him at an invisible level, and we see its influence. In a third case with the toe, again, impression goes with him and it creates the deformity in the toe. Given the little time that I have, I want to show how this understanding will affect our social life. And this is relevant for us. Practically, what will happen? Here is a man who has lots of attachment to his money. So every day before going to bed, he opens his bag and very excited with his money. You tell me, what will be the impression if he's to die? All his life is very happy because money is increasing also. Every day it is increasing. Full life is happy in an intoxication. If he's to die, the last impression will be money, of course. But what really happens, you realize you can't take that money with you. You are going, your journey continues, and that money is left behind. And the last moment is loss. I lose my money. Say you are in some country and you got lots of money and gold and palace, and if some dictator takes over the country and says you leave the country, you can't take anything. Definitely there will be a thought that I am losing it all. You won't say, thank you very much. I had a great time for 50 years with all this money. You'll say, this is all my money. How come I am asked to go? There will be resistance and there will be feeling of loss. Same thing happens here. If our consciousness exists, that consciousness carries this impression. Here we are seeing that consciousness is different, separate from the body, and carries that impression that I'm losing my money. Poor. And that impression will go with him. And this psychic impression creates the reality, as we saw. All the psychic impression, they create realities at a physical level, and this psychic impression will influence the life, and in the different situations, it will create a life where you are losing. Last situation, you are without this kind of thing. It will create an obstacle to success with wealth. Same thing applies to everything else. Someone may have lots of attachments to people. More the attachments, impression is I'm losing. And it actually invites those negative, because the loser, impression is a loser, and it creates situations of loss. This is why the best thing we can do, what is the best thing we can do, is come to during the lifetime, learn the not just a meditation, but shift in our awareness that I am a traveler in this world. This invisible true self is me. True self is a traveler. This entire physical world is a foreign world. It is not our world. That's why we have guaranteed exit. Traveler, I am a guest here. And as a guest, I'm involved. As a trustee, I'm involved with everything, including the body. Not one atom of this world can be mine. If someone has this philosophy, that not one atom of this world is mine, then he will find that during lifetime, he will be appreciative, just like a guest. There is tourists in any place. They appreciate the place. They don't need to own things. They appreciate in a different way. But at the time of our last moment, he knows he has got nothing to lose. Because if you own nothing, you lose nothing. The impression created is of fullness, of gratitude, of appreciation, of contentment. Positive impressions are created during life and also at the time of death. And this impression will go with the person. And this impression will influence the reality. This is like a practical application. We understand all this nice, mysterious things and magical things, but we can understand the science behind it and bring this mystery and magic in our lives and take benefit of it. If we want to make the society fortunate, why not? We want everyone to be fortunate. We may have to work at a deeper level than just think of bringing finding more gold or something like that. We have to work at what are the impressions created by the present generation, and the more positive impressions they create, they will have that inner impression of fullness. Positive impressions are created by the right philosophy. I will stop here if in case I am I have covered the time, but feel free
If
to.
you have a little more to say, that's fine. We can give it a few more minutes. That's not a problem.
Sure. So here we saw that psychic impressions that we are creating that has influence. In this, that invisible guest, if he adds to this, he's an invisible guest. The body, everything here is a temporary association. He's a trustee. Just like I'm a guest here and I'm using a chair where I'm seated right now here. And I don't need to own the chair. When I leave this room, I don't feel I lost anything. I lost a chair. I remain content and appreciative of the chair here. Same in this our journey. The invisible guest, he says, he is very appreciative of this moment. This moment is a gift for him as it comes. And this body is a gift. And people around, they've all made this moment rich for me. And it's a gift. Thank you. And he's happy. He's a guest. He's very aware that he will be leaving and he won't be taking a single atom with him. He knows this. But if you add to this also that this invisible traveler is healthy, body is the one that may have some health problems, maybe serious health problems. It is body. But the invisible guest is different. He's a guest in that body and he's healthy. If you just create that vibration coming from that deep conviction, you are not saying the body is healthy. No, body has problem, but traveler, invisible traveler, that invisible presence, he is healthy and he remains healthy. Even if the body he dies, he remains healthy. That impression of being healthy at a subtle level, it will influence the body. We were saying earlier at the beginning, 4 minutes, you create time, it has influence, it has effect. Create these few minutes where you are reminding you're you're invisible, and there is that invisible self, and he's a journey, and he's different but healthy. He's safe, secure, full, but he only has positive feelings. Not superficially, but he naturally feels positive because of zero bondage created. And because they are coming from deep inside him, it will have deeper influence at all levels, and it is a positive influence. Thank you. Maybe
Thank
I'll
you.
stop this presentation and
Would you take us into a meditation?
sure.
Thank you.
Trying to close this. Mm. So for the few minutes, we understand we have the option to use our mind the way we choose, and with eyes open or eyes closed, we experiment with concentration. during this minute, we give a clear destination to this mind to come to that sky. And we use the expression sky beyond the sky. We are seeing the expanse of light. We see this in color. And during this time, the mind has got clear destination to experience this expanse. As if the light and the color is all around us. Even if we are hearing the words, we do not let go of that experience of the light and the color. Region of complete silence. Region beyond. As we prepare to come back in the world of sound and actions, we come as guests. We are very aware of the invisible conscious self. He remains the invisible guest. And it is fun. He remains the invisible observer of everything. He remains the trustee of everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Prashant. It was very interesting, the whole approach of breaking it down for us. There's a few questions that have come in. One of them started with from our chat earlier, so I hope you don't mind. It's not particularly on the talk, but perhaps you could answer it. The person is saying, I have suffered from psoriasis for years, and recently it has flared up a lot. Sadly, the doctors know very little apart from prescribing steroid creams, which help, but afterwards it flares up with a vengeance. Can Dr. Prashant advise anything besides meditation? I do a lot of walking and eat a healthy diet, but I am really desperate.
Yeah, and obviously, cases, each case is individual. One is the healthy diet, but each of us need to know what is the right diet for this condition. And personal details are required. Yeah, there are more things that can be done than just a steroid. but more information is required. I'm happy to talk at a personal level.
So please do get in touch with Prashant and he will be able to advise you. Next question. I noticed when my mother died, another child was born within the family that looked a little like her, but had very similar movement. Is there a chance that could have been my mother? How would I know, as the child lives overseas and I haven't met her in person yet? And it's a two-part question, so let me start with that one for you.
Yeah. In Ian Stevenson's study, the chances of the deceased and the reincarnation happening in the same community are statistically very high. To be reborn in the same family is statistically high. But in theory, the reincarnation can happen anywhere, but there are statistically high chances. How can we know? Not from the appearance. Appearance is very genetically connected, but some other, if you see some habits, like for example, some people have a habit of scratching their head at a certain time, laughing in a certain way, certain mannerisms takes. You will notice them. They continue in the next life. In some cultures in the Southern America, when their chief, Red Indian communities, he is about to die, they would make a scar with a knife. Just before he dies, they would make a scar on his body, like on a leg, write a letter or something like this somewhere. And then a child born subsequently, or the next within the next year, it should be soon after that. And then they would go and check if they can see the same scar, in the newborn child, and that is a sure test, sure evidence.
That's very interesting. I didn't know that. The next question. If nothing belongs to me, how do I reconcile my sense of self? Is it just meditation that can give me the experience of fullness that you refer to? My concern is that I would become rather careless if I really take on that way of thinking.
As was said earlier, the trustee attitude, that is a safe attitude. Because the truth is that we have a guaranteed exit. And if something is really, I claim it, then I should be able to take it with me. So the position of a trustee, and right now I'm a trustee in this place, and I feel very responsible. The bank manager is a trustee, and he takes care of the place as a trustee. Naturally, we are responsible, and same thing happens here. But something higher happens when we are in this way, coming to that space of the invisible, conscious, observer. That the true self is very clear. There is a high self-respect in that space. You understand your existence and you're safe, secure. As was seen, you saw the personality that comes. Fullness. It is not just at the time of the death that fullness remains during the life. You feel very secure and you know your existence with truth. There is a foundation of truth there. In the other personality, starting position is confusion. He's deceived to claim things that doesn't belong to him. and he claims himself to be someone which is not him. The whole thing is going to go. So at a deeper level, he knows he's confused, he's deceived, and also he's insecure. Whole life is having fear of losing and dying. In that higher personality, you got nothing to lose at all. That's why full secure, that becomes your personality. And from that personality, you are you are dealing with things, you are taking care of things, you are reliable, you are deeply secure. There are less selfish agendas going on. You deal with things with enthusiasm rather than just because it is mine.
Thank you. The next question. I need to manage my anger with some helpful routine. I go to the boxing club, and I play tennis in the week. I've had a traumatic time in my childhood and still feel trapped there. Would you be able to share any of your thoughts on this?
Yeah, sure. The only reason we experience anger, anyone, humans, animals experience anger if we feel threatened. Something, makes me, disturbs me because subconsciously we interpret it. There is this may lead to some loss. It is going to create a problem to me. And body may be safe, but the ego we have created, they are very, very fragile and insecure. They are based upon that temporary external world, so they are more insecure. As we step back, it's the same. That is the first foundation. We need to come back into clarity, and in that clarity, understanding you are guest, you are safe, you are secure. Even the death of the body, you are still safe, and you are full. And in that, more you nourish that, ego becomes smaller. But now you got the sense of the true self. And when ego is smaller, anything doesn't become a personal attack. You don't take things personally. More the ego, we take things personally, based, unnecessarily. And then the reaction comes, reaction of defense comes. So here is a secret, some homework we need to do. Sports and all is very good. That is excellent. But and meditation, not just as a relaxation. Meditation should lead to the nourishment of the higher self. That is what will remove the ego, false ego.
I'm pretty sure we could get you to do another talk on that. And I think I will be inviting you back to explore just that theme in itself. This is the last question. My sister died of cancer, and the night she died, she came to me in my dreams to say goodbye. Is that only a coincidence?
Yeah, sure. These are heard. The similar cases are very, very common. Either in dream or in person, getting the feeling, as if the person has met the sister or the deceased. And there is that phenomena that happens, and as we saw, the invisible true self, that presence, that reality, our present educational system doesn't touch that area at all. That's why it has become a mystery. And but more we explore it, you realize that is central. That is what we are. We ourselves are presence, invisible presence associated with the body. So that becomes a complete U-turn in our education system. But then you also can explain many things of this kind. You can understand, okay, the person was in the hospital, maybe, the body might have, died even, but the presence that continues. And one way that uh, invisible presence, invisible self can communicate is through the dreams.
Fascinating. You spoke so well over and took up all the themes that I think at some point I know I've explored for myself, whether it's having souls without bodies or beings without physical bodies, or that process of transition from death, or just memories we carry that we didn't know where they came from, or emotions that we've carried that we don't know that we have experienced in this life that's caused them. So thank you so much for getting us all thinking, but most importantly, feeling that it's possible to go beyond. That was such a beautiful meditation. So thank you very, very much.